What is up, guys? Welcome to the Edge DFS. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, we're going to try to put out a little bit of a different show today. Talk to the audience. Tell them what we're doing today.
Yeah, hey guys, so we're going to go through a little bit more short, quick version of this. We're going to have a bit of a different format, just looking to get some content out a little bit quicker for those Sunday night shows. I know we can be a little long-winded, guys, so we're trying to give you a bit of a reprieve here. Hopefully you guys like this and it works well for Sunday Night Football.
Give us a follow and like on your way in. We appreciate that. Subscribe. We appreciate that a lot. So look, we're talking about Bengals and Ravens here, man. So Ravens are 3.5-point favorites. Let's look at this first look here. So 48 total, decent total here. That spread is wrong. Sorry, guys. I think it's 3.5. Weather should be fine. Baltimore minus 178 on the money line. So talk to me, Ellie. What are your thoughts about this matchup overall, man? Both teams, we know about them. We know their upside. A little bit of underachieving this year, right? I mean, I maybe Baltimore not so much, but definitely Joe Burrow and definitely Cincinnati, right?
Well, no, Baltimore right up there too. I mean, they've had 2 games where they've completely melted down in the second half.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's a real concern. Not for us, right? That's just going to make it more fun from a fantasy perspective. I think we're going to be able to, have a pretty high-scoring game here. So, I think Baltimore ends up winning this. They should. I think they button up some of the issues that they've had. I really see them kind of winning, probably by more than a field goal, though.
So let's talk about injuries real quick. Ellie, what do we have to look out for here? We are recording this, a day or so early, so there will be things that will change here. But what are you seeing injury-wise that we got to keep our eyes open for?
The one big thing that we know right now is Rashad Bateman is out, so we are going to have some shift in the wide receiver core there, and it's going to open up some value. The Cincinnati side of the ball is where it gets a little bit interesting. They're currently missing Devin Asiasi at a tight end, and Hayden Hurst is questionable. Both of their status matters because there's another $200 guy. I can't even remember his name, but he's been getting a little bit of run in the regular season at pass catching. So I really like this $200 dude if both these guys are out. And then the other thing that we really need to be mindful of is the concussion protocol and the changes that are coming. T. Higgins did have a concussion last week. He is expected to play, but if not, that opens up a lot of value elsewhere.
Do you like T. Higgins if he does play?
T. Higgins is one of my favorite plays on the slate. He has nearly identical numbers to Jamar Chase and just isn't priced for it. And that's not just this year. That's the past 18 games, by the way.
All right, we're gonna do a little bit of a different breakdown. We're not gonna cover position by position. It'll get us through it a little bit quicker here. So let's get to our breakdown. All right, so Ellie, talk to me about some of your top captain plays here. Obviously, look, Lamar Jackson is playing on a showdown slate. That means, look, I love playing him at captain. You're going to have to get a lot of him at captain, especially in a game where he's missing his top wide receiver, and they're going to double team the crap out of Mark Andrews. In my opinion, this game is heavy run to set up some pass to Mark Andrews or down the field. You just got to plug in a ton of Lamar at captain, right?
Yeah, Lamar is my favorite captain. I think you're fine running Lamar with stacks on the Ravens side. I think you're running naked Lamar. I think you're fine running naked Lamar and bringing back five Cincinnati Bengals. The dude, his worst game was last week, and that was against the Bills, who are dominating. The Bengals are not that. They should get plenty of offensive opportunities. They should have more possessions in this kind of a game. The Bengals offensive line is in tatters, despite all the changes they made to it in the offseason. So more sacks means more 3 and outs, means more opportunities for Lamar Jackson. And again, he's I think he accounts for 87% of the total touchdowns of this team. So play him at captain. You've got especially now that you have the salary flexibility, right? With Dude being out, Rashad Bateman, you're going to have a lot of value on a slate tonight. So, you might tie, but this is one of those times where it may not matter.
Yeah, for sure. So Lamar Jackson's 12.2K and Joe Burrow's 10.6K. T. Higgins, you brought him up in the beginning. If he's active, he's 8,200. What a amazing captain option in this game, right?
Yeah, man, I just think he's simply mispriced for his output. Like he's consistently getting run. And then I thought I saw something on Twitter where they were highlighting the coverage that Jamar Chase is drawing. Said, oh well, this is the only reason why T. Higgins is doing well. That's a pretty good goddamn reason, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're gonna pull Jamar Chase off the field to make it more fair on the defense. So 8,200, you're getting the exact same output from Jamar Chase, or as you would from Jamar Chase. Throw him in captain, man. He was the optimal captain in the last Bengals slate, and it just hasn't changed.
So who's next at captain? Who are some of your other favorite guys?
I think in this order, it's going to be Mark Andrews and then J.K. Dobbins. I mean, Mark Andrews. What else do you guys want me to say? This is the play tight end and captain show. That's my guy. I think he's priced right. He's going to give you some flexibility to throw in Lamar and still stack and run back some of these other receivers. He might be required to be able to go and stack Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. So I love him. And then Dobbins, I think people are sleeping on him because of his injury status, but he quietly had an excellent game.
Yeah, sure
I had to watch that out here. He looked really good, man. He was getting involved in the run game. He didn't look like he was coming off of a serious knee injury. So again, I think people are going to sleep on him just the way that the pricing on this slate works out. And if you capture him and Lamar Jackson, you could literally have all of the offense. Just because Rashad Bateman is out doesn't mean that they're going to start throwing the ball to these other guys.
Yeah.
It's John Harbaugh. They could just run the ball 90 times.
Oh, dude, I don't doubt it. And in a game like this, I think they have to. I really do. Look, four targets, 4 receptions, and a touchdown last week to go along with his 13 carries and a rushing touchdown. I like him a lot. Now, let me just bring this up real quick. Gus Edwards could return. He's questionable. He's $200. Do you think they're going to ease him in after that big injury last year? But this guy is a goal line beast. There's a chance if he plays, he could score a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we'll keep an eye on, and we'll update people in the Discord. So if you're not joined there, please join so that we can keep you up to date on actives and injuries, literally up to an hour before lock and any changes that comes through there. But yeah, he's definitely in play for me if he is active. But keep in mind with him, I still think that he's on the NFL inactive list, but he can be designated to return. I don't know if they've fully gone through it yet. So again, it's just one of those things we need to keep an eye on. If he does play $200, I'd love playing guys like that.
I mean, look, for other captain options, Jamar Chase, obviously, he's 11K. It's going to be hard to, it's going to be hard to put a lineup together at 11K, but we're going to do it with Lamar. So we might as well get used to it. We might as well just throw a little bit of a cheaper guy in there. Who else? Mixon, right? You got to get some shares of Mixon on this slate at captain and the flex.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to shout out Mina Kimes on this one. Not that she's watching, but she actually was doing some research on what was going on with the Bengals offense. Week 1, Burrow took like 8% of his snaps under center. It was 11% the week, and then I think last week he finished at 25% of the snaps are under center. That matters, right? You have a Joe Mixon. One of the reasons why he's kind of like topping out, his ceiling is topping out, is because you can't run play action out of the shotgun. Nobody gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
So if they start putting Joe Burrow back under center, it's going to be harder on him because of the offensive line issues. But I think it's going to open up some more like big field, big play opportunities for Joe Mixon. So I actually really do like him as a sneaky captain, and I'll probably have a pretty decent amount of them in my flex as well.
So running back pass route leaders, excuse me. Joe Mixon is 4th in the league with 112 routes run. That's kind of interesting. You don't usually see him getting involved in the pass game that much, but 4 targets, 4 receptions last week is pretty interesting. All right, so what do you want to talk about next, man? You want to talk about some flex options here? We'll get into value, and then we'll start building a little bit, and we'll more talk about like strategy when it comes to building. So, top flex guys here.
Yeah, I mean, so if you don't have Lamar a captain, you're gonna he's gonna be a lock. You either have him at captain or you either have him at flex. If I lose money because he's not in the captain, then that's something I'll live with.
If he has to shit,
But
if he has to
beyond,
shit his pants in the first quarter and he doesn't come back or something, yeah, we're all screwed. Everybody's screwed. So whatever, I'll just move on.
yeah, I mean, dude, DK Metcalf got a cart back so that he could handle his business. So Lamar Jackson, I mean, well, they wouldn't even pay the guy, so who knows what they're going to subject him to?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, get Lamar, and then I'm going to have a lot of Joe Burrow in the flex. I'm not going to have any of him at captain. I think that he's an excellent play. And just with some of the issues that we've seen from the secondary here of Baltimore and these two explosive wide receivers, and even three with Tyler Boyd, he can absolutely get there. And again, the pricing on this slate is worked out because of some of this early injury news. That you're going to be able to play these guys. You just got to be willing to get a little risky on the Ravens side.
Yeah.
And then let's put it this: all the guys that we talked about at captain, if you can get him into flex, go ahead and do it. But the other guy that I'm really going to be having a whole lot of is just T. Higgins, man. If I don't have him a captain, I'm going to have him in the flex position at 8,200. He just gives you too much flexibility to move pieces around. But the guy that I'm really, really interested in is Devin DuVernay. Guys, 5,600. He is going to be the wide receiver one.
Yeah.
And look at this. Like, this is his output with Rashad Bateman, right? He's been doing pretty well, and people are sleeping on him because he's a number 2 wide receiver, right? Or he's on the Ravens. It's a run heavy group, but yeah, we've been playing him in for showdown years. Slates for a while.
Oh yeah, well, not years, but a year. I've always been on the DuVernay train. I get no, he was here. He was in 2020 as well. I've always been on the DuVernay train, man. Now that he's actually getting reps as wide receiver, he used to be one of these gadget guys. He'd get all the returns. They'd throw him in every once in a while on a third down, end around, or something like that. But now he's getting snaps as a legitimate wide receiver, and I like him. I've always liked him. That's not going to change at all this week. In fact, I love him even more than I ever have. 5,600, him at captain as well. If you really want to get all those studs in the flex with those expensive guys, get both quarterbacks, get Jamar Chase, you put him at captain, he's a good option. That was one of my captain, sort of bullets that I was thinking about at the beginning of this show. Who else, man?
That's pretty much the core that I'm going to be working with. Again, all the captain guys, if I don't have them at captain, I'm going to try and roster them at the flex spot. And again, exposure to Chase and Mixon is suggested. These are kind of just the guys that I'm building as my core pieces. I'll have it Mixon, just not as much Jamar Chase.
Yeah. So we talked about DuVernay for value. What are your other value options?
Well, I think both kickers are fine. Don't play him in the same lineup, but again, kind of with the Baltimore favored, I think Tucker is kind of the guy you're going to want to prioritize if you're looking at saving some salary. He's going to get opportunities, 50, 55, 60-yard field goals, and he can easily put up points. We've seen it before. 4K, it's not terrible. I mean, you might need those 11, 12 points that you'll get from him to help balance out the rest of the roster. But beyond that, Isaiah Likely, he's interesting. Again, losing your number 1 wide receiver, you're going to soften up targets to a bunch of your periphery players. Isaiah Likely is a guy that they wanted to get involved in the offense. So I can see him getting a little bit more run. And then James Prochet, man, look, he's $200. He's going to be the number 2 wide receiver for this game. And you guys know I love playing $200 guys. Obviously, he needs to be active. If he's not active, then whoever else is $200 is going to be fine. Or you just load up on Demarcus Robinson. He has the speed. He has the route running ability. And he can get out there. Only concern with D-Rob is he is 2,800. So if I can get to Prochet, if he's active, that's the guy I'm going to be prioritizing.
Yeah, and Demarcus Robinson is obviously, we know him from the Chiefs. He underachieved there, but he didn't do bad. He's the number 2 wide receiver on this team as of right now. and probably the number 3 overall target. So if there's any passing to be had from this team, he's probably going to be involved. Let's see. He hasn't really, knocked the socks off of anything yet. 4 targets here, 2 targets, 3 targets. But with that injury to Rashad Bateman, we'll see a little bit more of him. I think it is a little bit risky, in my opinion, to throw him in because we kind of know what he is at this point. But it doesn't mean he can't score a touchdown. It can't happen.
And before we talk about this other guy on the Bengals, I do want to point something out. Look, we all know by now Lamar Jackson isn't getting paid by the Baltimore Ravens this season, right? They can't even talk about negotiations to the offseason. He's probably getting tagged.
Yeah.
So he has less incentive necessarily to take off, and he has more incentive to just sit in the pocket and hit his wide receivers, right? So I'm not talking about like a significant drop off in his rushing, but we might see a few more pass attempts that we may not normally see. Those RPOs where he usually keeps it and runs an option with his back, he might be actually pulling it down to pass now. So that opens up some of these players for me, man. But again, tying back to the injury stuff, if Hayden Hurst is out or limited, Mitchell Wilcox is a really interesting. Yeah, bro, I couldn't even remember the beginning of the show, but for whatever reason, he's been getting a little bit of run. It's nothing crazy. I think maybe a target or 2 a game, a reception or 2, but again, $200. You want to play Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. It's probably how you're going to have to do it. You're going to have a guy like that in there. So he'll be 3-4% unless Hurst is out. But I definitely think that he's a valid punt.
Any other guys to talk about here that jumped out to you? Guys you want to avoid? Anything else here? P. Ryan, 5K. He's probably priced up too much. Mike Davis, the backups. The backups for Baltimore are kind of all over the place. You got Mike Davis, Will Drake. Will Kenyon Drake be active? I don't know. Who knows? Do you have any thoughts on the backup running backs here for Baltimore?
Nah, man. Look, for Baltimore, I'm looking at guys like Lamar. I'm looking at J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews, and then I'm going to rotate the receivers and maybe a tight end. I'm not touching the rest of the backfield. Even with J.K. Dobbins out, these guys weren't getting any run. So I'm just not interested. I think it's the other side of the ball. With Joe Burrow, just stack up whatever receivers you want, man. I know Tyler Boyd hasn't been very loud this season, but he's still an excellent wide receiver. He's not a number 3. He'd be the number 1, 2, and 3 on the Chicago Bears right now. So play these guys, especially if T. Higgins is out or you think his concussion is lingering. Play some of these backup dudes from the Bengals.
Let's build a few lineups. So let me hit optimize and see what happens. Mixon at captain. Interesting. Isaiah Likely, D-Rob, Andrews, Burrow, and Lamar. That's pretty interesting. Let's build a Lamar lineup here. We're probably only going to build like 2 lineups for you guys. In the Discord will be a little bit more helpful. But let's put Lamar and let's build a lineup that we think can be somewhat unique. None of them are probably going to be that unique. So what do we want to do? You want to do like a 2-4? You want to do like a naked, like a 1-5?
Yeah, we're going to go naked or 2-4, kind of see what we're comfortable with. But let's go Burrow. Let's go Higgins. And let's go Mixon.
Higgins, if he's active, and Mixon. Let's see what that gets us. So 4,100. Let's see. Do we want to get one of these cheap-ass dudes? One of these $200 guys or something?
Let's throw in James Prochet.
All right. Prochet the second. That leaves us with 3,900. Does that get us the kickers? That gets us Evan McPherson. There you go.
See, I mean, in this, again, Prochet is going to be 4 or 5% owned. So I don't think this is that crazy of a lineup to throw into a GPP with Lamar at captain.
Yeah, absolutely. Who else do you want to build with here?
Can you go from Mixon to Tyler Boyd? And then we'll throw in a different captain just to make it easy. And that gives us
6,500. So Duvernay, that's a P. Ryan, Hayden Hurst, or you can just go all the way down to, Tucker or McPherson, leave some money on the table. And I think that's also another decent strategy too. If you don't want to get too crazy with like approach or something, you could just go, drop down and leave like 3,000 or 4,000 on the table or something, depending on your lineup build. Or if you want to put in a cheap guy and go way down to a kicker or something, that could be an option as well. So who's next? Who do you want to build with? We'll build one more lineup together.
Let's do J.K. Dobbins.
All right, I like it. J.K. Dobbins, Lamar right off the bat. You want to run this back with you want to do a 2-4 or a Burrow stack here?
Let's get Burrow, Jamar Chase, and kind of see where we're at.
Jamar Chase, 2,800 a pop for 2 spots. It's going to get a little tight.
Throw in Mitchell Wilcox.
All right, Mitchell Wilcox, 5,500. P. Ryan, Hurst, all these guys. You can go down to the kickers. What would be your preference there?
I guess I'd probably go with one of the kickers, maybe Justin Tucker or.
Yeah, so leaving a little bit of money on the table. You're punting with Wilcox, but besides that, this is a pretty decent lineup. Now with a lineup like this, you're going to need Dobbins to probably score 2 touchdowns or get involved in the pass game or something like that. But so Ellie, now that we've built a couple lineups together, we didn't go through a whole show where we're breaking everything down. But what are your thoughts, generally speaking, with your lineup builds? You sticking with 4 2 stacks, 2 4 stacks, and how crazy are you going to get with some of these punt plays?
I'm not going to get too crazy, man. I think that I just don't think that the field's going to be too high on them. They're going to expect concentrated ownership, and let's say it this way: just don't get too cute. You're better off not risking Lamar going off and playing him at captain and getting a 0 from James Prochet.
Yeah.
Right. This is a slate to do stuff like that, so that's what I'll be doing the whole slate.
Subscribe, like this video for us, join the Discord. Like I said, we're going to be building more lineups, talking more in there. We will see you again for Monday Night Football. That video will be released Monday morning, so check that out. And also, guys, if you can't watch the video, if you're driving around or if you're walking around your house with headphones on, just throw on the podcast version. High quality audio on all of the favorite podcast platforms. Besides that, Ellie, you got anything else to say before we head out?
No, have a good night, guys.
See you guys later.